welcome to this year-end edition of Money in Motion video blog. I'm Dan Perkins. First of all, let me wish to you and your family a blessed Christmas and a happy new year and great prosperity both financially and personally in 2012. As we look at 2011, there are some things that I think need to be said and how they might impact what happens in 2012 going forward. I think the greatest disappointment in 2011 to me was the collapse of the ability of the Congress and the President to govern. They demonstrated twice, in August and then just recently, that they cannot address the real issues, that there is a serious conflict between some Republicans and many Democrats. I said some necessarily mean that they were a conservative. We reported in the last week or so that the federal deficit rose over $15 trillion. At the same time, economists are forecasting that the GDP for the entire year will be less than the debt, which means we clearly are spending more than we bring in. This year, the deficit will be $1.3 trillion. $1.3 trillion. It's an astronomical amount of money. Yet the Congress haggled over a 2-month extension of benefits that cost $30 billion in the face of a $1.3 trillion deficit and $15 trillion in outstanding debt. What did they finally do? They kicked the can down for two months into next year so everybody could go home and celebrate Christmas with their families and feel good that they protected people's jobs, or their jobless benefits, I should say, for another 2 months. All of this haggling over this bill to extend unemployment benefits, which are going to produce about $100 of household income for the next 2 months while they try and decide what they want to do. You know, I'm sure the president was somewhat conflicted. He was conflicted because in a previous blog, I explained to you how they were using fuzzy math to bring down the unemployment rate. If the Congress would have failed to renew or extend the benefits for 2 months, then effective January 1st, about 4 million people would be set up to go off the unemployment benefit rolls. Now, as we talked the last time, if 4 million people go off the rolls, they disappear, we reduce the number of people looking for work to the number of employed, and the unemployment rate would go down. Back of the envelope math would say if those 4 million people were taken off the rolls, the unemployment rate would probably be around 4%. The problem with it is that the president could point to an unemployment rate of 4%, but tens of millions of people unemployed. I think that the markets are continuing to be volatile. I've told you many times that I expect volatility to continue. I expect it to continue into 2012. The volatility has gotten more volatile in the sense that swings now could be as much as 5% in a day, where before they may have been 2 or 3. I expect that volatility to continue into 2012, and I expect that the economy will not live up to its operational potential. So I'm looking for GDP to come in somewhere between 1.5% and 2% for the year. There are a lot of pundits who think that the stock market should now be poised to go up 10 to 12% next year. I don't think that's going to happen. We haven't solved the unemployment problem. We haven't solved the housing problem. And we haven't solved the budget problem. Until we address those and build confidence in people to want to invest and create jobs, all those parts of our economy are going to continue to suffer. I do believe, however, there's one bright spot, and that is that the rest of the world may be in worse shape than we are. And so the demand for dollar-denominated securities and dollars is growing rapidly. I wouldn't be surprised to see in 2012 that the ratio of the euro to American dollars could drop to 125, perhaps even lower. I would also expect to see some pressure on the pound sterling and also on the Swiss franc. As it relates to interest rates, because of significant demand for dollar-denominated assets, I would expect to see the 10-year yield, which is now around 2, to possibly drop to 1 to 1.25 sometime in probably mid-year 2012. And I would expect to see that the 30-year yield might drop to 2.25 to 2.5. If in fact I'm right that we get 125 basis points, 1.25% on the 10-year, I wouldn't be surprised to see 15-year conventional mortgage rates at 2 or less, and 30-year conventional mortgage rates below 3. It's going to be a difficult year. There's going to be an enormous amount of rhetoric coming up for the campaign. I don't know who the candidate's going to be for the Republican Party. And I don't know whether the Republicans can maintain control of the House, get control of the Senate or the White House or not. My greatest fear is that we wind up exactly where we finished the year, meaning the Republicans control the House, the Democrats control the Senate, and they control the presidency. That would not be a positive thing, I think, for the markets. And there would be significant changes in taxes and how we tax and who we tax going forward. So while I'm positive about a lot of things, especially my grandson Cameron and his future, I'm not real positive about what's going to happen over the next 12 to 24 months. I'll do my best to preserve the capital, but understand volatility is an issue that we have to deal with. And when we're looking for income, we have to also take volatility. So that's it for now. This is Dan Perkins wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If you have questions, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. And I'll talk with you again after the first of the year.